Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one, I would like to take a look at some new Manetric decks from the set Mega Evolution. So, Mega Manetric is a really interesting card because it has 330 HP, which is pretty solid for a Stage 1 Mega, but it also has Free Retreat, which is quite impressive, and it has two very powerful attacks, at least in my opinion. So, Flash Ray for 2 Lightning Energy does 120 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, you get to prevent all damage done to Mega Manetric by attacks from your opponent's basic Pokemon. So, Raging Bolt comes to mind. So, if we ever see any uber powerful basics revealed over the next 2 years, then we have to think about Mega Manetric basically as a counter to them. So, yeah, very powerful attack, I would say, overall. Also has the attack Riot Blaster, which for 3 Lightning Energy does 200, which isn't massive really. Like, it will finish something off if you've just used Flash Ray last turn, but still 200 damage, not a lot. But you can discard all energy from Mega Manetric, and if you do, you do 130 more damage. So 330, which is kind of crazy. So you can one-shot another Mega Manetric. You'll be 10 short of Mega Camerupt and Mega Lucario, which is a bit painful. But if you really wanted to, you could use something like a Defiance Band if you've just gone down in prizes. For example, if you've just triggered a Magneton, for example. But still, 330 is a lot of damage, and it can, of course, KO the likes of Dragapult and Charizard and Grimmsnarl. So, yeah, quite a scary attack overall. And then you can just charge up another Mega Manetric on the bench with something like Electrike or Electric Generators, and then free retreat into it, which is quite scary. As for some new cards to consider, none of these lists that we're going to look at today actually feature these 3 cards. But I didn't think they were worth mentioning, just in case you're brainstorming with the new stuff. Lily's Determination says shuffle your hand to your deck, then draw 6. And if you have 6 prize cards remaining, shuffle, draw 8, which is kind of crazy. So if you want like a more shuffle-based deck, like I know Lightning Turbo decks are more built around research, Carmine, that sort of thing, but if you wanted to, Lily's Determination is a pretty solid option. Also, Wally's Compassion, heal all damage from one of your Mega Evolution Pokemon, and if you do, put all energy attached to that Pokemon back into your hand. I will need to see a rules confirmation, but it doesn't sound like you have to have energy on that Pokemon to heal it. Because if that's the case, then you could do Riot Blaster for 330, tank a hit from something, and then Wally's Compassion, heal all that damage, and then, power up the next Manetric ready to go as well. So if you can do that, then I think Wally's Compassion is a really scary card, and it basically turns Mega Manetric into this Pokemon that can take multiple hits, basically, before it gets KO'd. So yeah, I do think Wally's Compassion could be really strong. Also, the single prize Raikou, I just thought was worth mentioning. Like, Electrical Fall does 30 damage for 2 Lightning Energy, and if you have 4 Lightning Energy in play, this attack does 120. Like, it's nothing crazy. It's the same damage as Flash Ray, but just in case you really needed a good single prize attacker or like a little bit of chip damage in the mid to late game, then Raikou's got your back. But I don't think it might be necessary. Like, you probably just have the space for other stuff, and like Zeraora is fine as a sniper. So yeah, Raikou, not a bad card though. I don't think it's that bad. First list though is running exclusively the Electrike as like the support engine. So yeah, 3-3 line of Mega Manetric, and then 3-3 line of the Tynamo and the Eel. Also playing 2 copies of Iron Hands and 2 Miraidon, so it's still firmly like a Miraidon based deck because it's just that good for getting the support rolling. Also playing Mew EX, Pheasantipity, which are pretty much standards in these decks. Also playing Latias, so like you're not afraid to play multiple counts of things like Iron Hands and not have to run things like switches really. I would still maybe run like a switch or something just in case, but then again, this list is not running Arven, so it'd be difficult to track down if you had to make space for it. So maybe just 1 Latias and 1 Air Balloon is more than enough. Also running a Squawkabilly for some additional draw power. So yeah, 4 Research, 3 Iono, 4 Boss, and they're the only supporters in the deck, right? Less than 12 supporters, kind of crazy, but it is going to be super fast, and that's the aim. So definitely looking to use that Squawkabilly. I guess if your opponent KOs Squawk, it's not such a big deal, but they could like Boss KO Squawk, then like Boss KO an Eel, and then finish off a Manetric or something. That might be the prize race that they go for, but either way, you can make things awkward for your opponent. Like, I do think Mega Manetric is at least decently tanky, so it's giving Miraidon something that it didn't really have before, and that's like a really bulky Pokemon to use. Like, Magenzone EX, I guess, has been around forever, but like, Magnezone EX just had suffered from problems, like it's just not really a good attacker. Like, I used to play a lot actually, Magnezone EX, but like it's just not a brilliant card. So like the deck hasn't really had this really bulky attacker, at least not since like Arceus V-Star when that was a thing. So yeah, a bit of a strange deck, but Manetric does give you a massive HP boost, at least for a stage 1. So yeah, looks like a pretty solid list overall. Also choosing to run four boss, yeah, and a prime catcher. So not running the maximum belt, so you can't like one-shot Mega Venusaur or anything like that, but you can gust up any like bench sitters and do 200 to them. So yeah, quite nice. I guess once you get all the eels rolling, then it doesn't really matter. And then you can just do 330 whenever you want to. And then Iron Hands can like finish them off if necessary. Like that's a scary thing with Iron Hands. You could like smack a Mega for 200 and then potentially finish them off with Iron Hands. And then you've just taken 4 prize cards, which is, yeah, that is scary to be honest. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to playing this. I would maybe include Zero Aura as well, just so you can maybe guarantee those last 2 price cards after you've KO'd a Mega with Iron Hands, just to like snipe a Fezandipity or something. But yeah, I think Zero Aura would be a good inclusion in this deck. But yeah, very solid list overall, I would say. And next up is we have more of a solid Manetric deck, just a 4-3 line, no Miraidon, no Iron Hands, no Pheasant, no Squawk, nothing like that. Also playing a 1-1 Magneton line, which is interesting. Like, I guess you can afford to give your opponent like a random prize here, there, and everywhere, but like, the thing is, I would have thought you might want to make space for a 2-2 line, just so it's a bit easier to guarantee, because otherwise you're not really going to be able to use Mega Manetric more than once, I would have thought, with like that main attack doing 330. So I guess with like Power Glass, it's possible, right? You just recharge energy and then you go for like the Flash Ray to do 120, but you are a Mega Evolution, like you will give up 3 prize cards, so that is half the game when one of these things goes down. So I'm not really convinced this is fast enough to make it work. Like maybe it is with generators and you just get lucky and pop off and stuff, but yeah, I guess that's the plan, right? You just dig through your deck, you find the generators, you get the 15 energy in play. But like, yeah, I would worry slightly about this one, just because like you're putting a lot on the line, I think. But I'm interested in this one. I'll give it a go for sure. But yeah, the 1-1 Magneton, like Magneton's absolutely fine, by the way, like just giving up a prize, because you only play 3 prizers and 1 prizers. So giving up 1 prize is absolutely fine in the prize trade, really. So yeah, pretty solid list overall, I would say. Next up is we have, I do apologize for the blurry list. Once again, I'm going to have to say this just because it's easier to group multiple lists from different sources, so that's why some of them are blurry. But yeah, Mega Manetric, a 3-2 line, so a bit smaller in this one, but it is making room for some more trainers here. Got a 3-3 line of the Eels still. 1 Miraidon, which is a bit fishy. I would maybe want 2 copies. 1 Iron Hands, 1 Joltik. So, okay, we've definitely been a bit greedy here in what we're playing, because I don't think you necessarily need Joltik. Not if you're not going to play the Galvantula, the single prize one that can attack. So, like, I think if you're going to play Joltik, you should commit to Galvantula, because Mega Manetric doesn't have like colorless or grass energy in its attack cost. And I think that's just maybe pushing it a bit too far. You know, like you're asking Joltik to basically just accelerate energy to Iron Hands and Miraidon at that point. So I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of that. There's also no generators, so you're also like exclusively relying on eels, which it also feels a bit risky. This honestly might be my least favorite list in the video, to be honest. Like it's going to be someone's cup of tea, but it's definitely not mine. Like 1 Fezandipity is fine, 1 Mew-X, okay, whatever. But like, yeah, the Joltik I'm not sure about. Miraidon counts. I would like at least 1 more. It is a bit more disruptive, this one. I will give it credit where credit's due, like Unfair Stamp and 3 Rocket's Watchtower. So you're trying to shut down Squawkabilly, or like more so like Noctowl, I guess. Like I think Noctowl Raging Bolt honestly has a really good shot of winning Worlds, depending on when you're watching this. Maybe already has won Worlds, but I don't know when I'll release this video. So maybe Noctowl's kind of broken post Worlds. But yeah, Noctowl Rotom's really good. All these colorless Pokemon that we'll probably see play. And of course, there'll be like colorless Megas that we just haven't seen yet that could be great. Like Mega Kangaskhan, of course, springs to mind as a really good one. But yeah, Rocket's Watchtower, definitely not a bad stadium for this deck. But yeah, I do, again, worry about the Joltik. But yeah, next up is we have a bit of a hybrid build, so running the Eels, but also running Magneton, so it's a bit of a split there, a 2-2 and then a 1-1. Also running a 2-2 Manetric, which is what I thought most of these lists would gravitate towards, actually, just a 2-2 line. And then 2 Miraidon, 2 Iron Hands, and a Zekrom. So the first list actually include a Zekrom, which is interesting. So, your opponent knocks out a Manetric, and then Zekrom just comes in there and hoovers up, I guess. That's the plan, or at least it's a nice option. But yeah, Zekrom, still running the Iron Hands, of course. Pheasant, Squawkabilly, a lot of Pokemon in this list, basically. But yeah, 3 nest balls, 4 ultra ball, 4 generator. I definitely get behind generators. So yeah, I definitely like this list a lot. Also playing Future Booster Capsule to give our Enhanced Ray Retreat. Academy at Night as well to maybe guarantee a generator hit. That's cool. Rigid Band, interesting. Like you could take minus 30 damage on one of your eels, but you could also put this on Mega Manetric, so it takes minus 30. I wonder what math that does fix, actually. I wonder if there's something else. Well, apart from like the mirror match, another Mega Manetrics. I wonder if there's any yeah, I wonder if there's any megas that do like exactly 340 or like 350, 360. There might be actually. I think oh wait, I was gonna say Mega Bomber Snow could do 340, but no, it works in 60s, doesn't it? So it does like 360. So you wouldn't survive a hit either way, but yeah, no, it's interesting though. Like Rigid Band's a cool one. Big Charm as well, good. I do think you need Big Charm and stuff like this. If you're gonna run Pheasant, like I think you need Big Charm. Like you need to make these guys bigger because they're a bit too fragile these days. But yeah, pretty cool list overall, I would say. But yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about Manetric down below. Are you a believer like me who thinks it's going to be really good? But yeah, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. And yeah, thank you for watching.